morning. Welcome to vlog 5 of Chasing Dreams, Will and Herbie's journey to the Masters in Wellington. Wellington, right? It's like, so after my lesson on Thursday, I got a text from Jan, and Jan was like, hey, listen, Katie, who is a teammate of mine, and Jen, her sister, are going to be showing tomorrow, so that was Friday, at Wellington International at 8:45 and at 10:45, I think were the times, right? Like, and I was like, okay, so, you know, when you're going to schooling shows and they tell you something's at 8:45 and at 10:45, it usually you got like a good hour before anybody goes, right? Like, or, you know, that's like maybe a half hour before it's actually going to start. That is not the case at Wellington International. Listen, Wellington International runs like clockwork. From what I know, and I don't know if the big green is counted in the 10, there are at least 10 arenas, plus I think the big green area for the Grand Prix on the green and the big international arena. So there could be at least 12 arenas there. During this season of the year, just here in Wellington, there are close to 5,000 show jumping horses here. Now, we can compare that to the winter season, and the winter season at Wellington International, it goes from January 1st, about the second weekend or first weekend of April. It's 13 weeks long. It mirrors barrel racing in Buckeye, Arizona. Like if you were to compare winter in Buckeye versus winter here at Wellington International, the difference would be like going to a Buckeye, Arizona and barrel racing. That's like going to a county fair. And Wellington International, with its 10 arenas going all day long with 5,000 competitors with unlimited amounts of show barns, it is like Disney World for horse people. Every time I go to Wellington International, I am completely astounded by just, it's a total sensory experience. I haven't even brought a horse there yet, so I know that that's going to be like, when I bring Herbie there for the first time, it's going to be probably overwhelming. I was asking Jan, because I've gotten blue ribbons, and I've seen my performance in those blue ribbons, right? Like, and I'm comparing my performance now to like people who are jumping the meter 10 and the meter 20. And I see why my trainer hasn't let me go back up beyond the meter 7 yet, because even though I've gotten some blue ribbons, I am not keeping hurt. My outside rein and my outside leg, man, they constantly come disengaged, and they are not like hanging together. So basically what happened is I get the text from Jan saying that Katie and Jen are going to be at Wellington International. I'm like, I'm down, I'm going. So I leave my house an hour early, thinking that gives me plenty of time to park the car. I text Jen, hey, leaving now. She's like, oh, they're going to be going. That's when they start. Like, you might not get here on time. Listen, Wellington International is so like first rate that like I drove. Okay, I listened to Yola Young and Messi, and I did me some Shabuzi, and I had some Cowboy Carter going on. Thank you, Beyonce. Oh, that little 50-minute drive all the way up there. I get there and I'm like, you know, I am not going to park. And like, I'm starting to know my way around Wellington International. Like, I can park back in the barns and snake my way into the arena without having to worry about like waiting in line with the car at parking for valet, especially on a Grand Prix night, right? Like, but during the day, it's a lot tighter, and it's going to be a lot busier with all the horse trailers coming in and out, and the people who are there to watch. I mean, people hire entire photography teams just to photograph some of the people. And I know like half the people who are probably walking around with like their faces covered like this are probably like celebrities and celebrity trainers who just don't want to be bothered. And I get that. The last thing I will ever do is like bother any celebrity or like celebrity trainer. Though I'm having kind of a Rosie O'Donnell moment for any of you older folks. Carl Cook. The day we brought Herbie home, me and Jan and Carrie were sitting at the Tiki Lounge having lunch. I was having myself a little vegan wrap. And Carl Cook came out and he was like jumping out there in the International Grand Prix ring. And I was like, that dude could jump. I like him. And it's funny because my trainer's like superhero at Wellington and like in the show jumping world is big time. She is totally in love with McLean Ward, right? Like, and she got to see McLean Ward for her birthday. She sent me a little photo of that. She was so ecstatic, right? Like, and I guess meet him. So mine is Carl Cook. He my dude, right? Like he's my Rosie O'Donnell, Tom Cruise moment. I'm sorry. Like I watch his vlog, so I'm like, look at me shamelessly plugging Carl Cook's vlog, and I'm down with that, right? Like so, to get invited to Wellington International, I get up there, like I roll in, totally distracted. Sorry about that. I roll into Wellington International on Friday, right? Like late, so I'm like, I'm just gonna go to valet parking. I get out of valet parking, and as I'm paying for the valet, I'm like, okay, I need to go to ring 7. Do you know where ring 7 is? She goes, oh, I've got a cart coming that will take you there. And I'm like, a cart? I hop into that cart. And so bless her heart, of course, I did tip her, right? Like, if somebody's gonna drive me around, I'm gonna tip her. I tipped her $10 because she was like 15 out. I'm running here, I'm in a cart. She's asking me what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, so I'm in a cart. I'm at Wellington International. I'm looking for Jennifer and my trainer, January. The place bougie. Driving me all over the place. Mostly because she went to the wrong ring, but that's fine. And we pop off. I get to ring 7. Literally, my girlfriend Jen had just come off of her horse, right? And to me, I was like, she just came off her horse. I mean, like, she didn't fall off her horse. Well, that's another story that's not mine to tell. But my girlfriend Jen, like, she had just had a clear round on her horse. And you know, when you come and me, even at my little .7 champ, I come out, my adrenaline she was adrenaline rushed, her face was flushed. She had a clear round. And then I got to go see her ride my girlfriend Katie's horse. He was a bit spicy today. I mean, not today. He was a bit spicy on Friday. And I just, like, you know, that's the way our warm bloods are. They can give us like little challenges once in a while. And so that was the beginning of like what became. So listen, I drove all that way to Wellington International, and basically I saw my girlfriend pop off her horse, fresh-faced from all the adrenaline rush, right? Like, and like glistening and beautiful and winded, and she had an amazing clear round, and I didn't get to see any of it. So then in about an hour, literally I had a website development meeting for an hour, and went from that to watching her warm up in the warm-up ring on my other friend, on my competitive teammate Katie's horse. And listen, this horse can really jump, right? Like, and he went over the first couple of jumps. He was flying. When Jen rides this horse, it's like watching a true pro ride. So that's all I can say. But I had such a great time there. I did some shopping while I was up there. Went over to the Voltaire. Million, we still need to, like, I think I need to pay you for reins, and we still need to swap out that computer on my Voltaire saddle. Yeah, I got the Voltaire saddle computer underneath my saddle, so I can, like, you know, we'll do a whole thing on the computer technology on Voltaire, right? Like, it measures, it basically maps out your ride. It can predict weakness in the horse. It can let you know how much time you spend at each gait if you're trying to develop and condition your horse. Like, it's completely amazing, this computer. So Emilion, we need to like get that. So I went over to Voltaire. I bought some wide stirrup leathers because I really feel like every so often, like, my stirrup leathers, besides the fact that they were a year old and they were starting to get a little like weak, and I just don't want to like be one of those individuals whose tack falls apart when they're going over a jump, right? Like, so I was like, I'm gonna, you know, get new stirrup leathers, and I got these new wider stirrup leathers. And even in my ride with my dressage trainer on Saturday. My wide leather Voltaire stirrups were like really, really helpful. And so then from after my dressage lesson, of course, I went home, but the real exciting part of this last weekend was having the opportunity to go to Wellington International for the Great Charity Challenge. My girlfriend Jen also competed in the Great Charity Challenge. What the Great Charity Challenge is 33 nonprofits from Palm Beach County are selected. And each of those charities are given a chance to earn a percentage of $2 million. So every year their goal is to raise $2 million. And it's called the Great Charity Challenge at Wellington International. So that's what was going on at Wellington International at the Grand Prix on Saturday. And it was a different kind of a Grand Prix. So it wasn't like all the pros. You have to be able to at least jump 1.10 meters to qualify to compete in the Great Charity Challenge. And what they do is they set up 21 jumps, right? And those 21 jumps are divided by 3 riders and 3 different heights. So the first rider comes in and jumps the first 7 jumps, which was my girlfriend Jen and her 2 friends were part of the Cowboy Carter team representing Beyonce, who won a Grammy. So we were not only a team, we were a Grammy winning team at the Global Charity Challenge at Wellington International. So much shit to remember when you're doing a vlog, let me tell you. And to stay on point all the time. Okay, so we have ADHD word, right? So I should probably edit all that out. So the Global Charity Challenge, the most interesting thing about the Global Charity Challenge is that so I'm going to describe you. So at Wellington International, the course for the Global Charity Challenge is set with 21 jumps. There are 7 jumps at 3 different heights. The 1.10 meters, the 1.20 meters, and the 1.30 meters. And so the jumps get progressively harder and a lot higher. So, we went out and we walked the course. Man, I was confused walking that course. If anybody saw me out there, I'm right, left, not knowing where to go, having that map in my hand. It was a spectacle. I was so glad when I started running it into my teammates on the course from Spitfire Farm. And not only teammates, but all of us Cowboy Carter, because that was so Jen, our girlfriend, who I went up and watched ride up at Wellington International the day before, Jen was representing herself, really, but was part of the team, the Cowboy Carter team, raising money at the Global Charity Challenge for the Sea Turtles, which is a nonprofit in Palm Beach County. And so her team she was the first. She has jumping now in the Masters, which is the 1.10 meters. And since she's now jumping in the 1.10 meters, and she's done this I think this is her 3rd or 4th year competing in the Global Charity Challenge. So this is an annual event that they raise all this money for. I just think it's a great thing. And it's a spectacle because not only are the courses set with the 21 jumps, the 3 different heights, I forgot to tell you, 3 different riders, every 7 jumps, another rider takes over. So it's 21 jumps and they're all in their costumes. So there was the Britney Spears team, there was the Dolly Parton team, there was the AC/DC team, our team was Beyonce for the Cowboy Carter album. And so all these teams are out there just, competing against each other. Our team, the rider number 2 of our team, and I'm going to put probably running throughout this entire time is now going to be our team running, right? Rider number 2 of our team, she went over jump and maybe she got a little bit too forward, so forward that she was in front of the saddle. And this athlete can she could ride. Listen, when I tell you, you have to be strong. She was able to push herself back off the horse's neck onto the saddle and continue along her little way. And so it was a relay race, right? So Jen did the first 7 riders. We had somebody else do the second 7 jumps, and we had somebody else do the last 7, which would be 130. So that was a complete spectacle. Everybody was in attendance from our team. We did a great big photo of everybody at the barn. We all walked the course. The girls and I ran into the Lemieux shop and did some serious shopping. And that was our kind of Grand Prix Wellington International weekend, man. I had a blast. What can I say? Vlog 4, I'm going to take you through some of my recent rides with January, and Vlog 7 will be introducing you to Johnny Vega, my dressage trainer. So keep following, folks. This has been a lot of fun. So vlog number 5 is done. Now, vlog 6 is going to be me introducing you to Johnny Vega, my dressage trainer. And then vlog 7 is going to be me going through recent lessons with January. It's so interesting because January teaches me things all the time, right? Like, and she's getting me around that course in ways that, like, I didn't even know were possible. In fact, this weekend, a friend of hers came over and pulled me aside, and he said, you know, we're watching you, Will. I'm like, he goes, you've made a lot of progress in the year. You've made more progress as a jumper than most people make, like, their entire lives. He's right, I think, maybe. I think I can do this. Like, I watch and there are gonna be some barriers, some obstacles to me doing this, right? Like, one of the biggest barriers is gonna be my physical fitness and my body's ability to be strong enough, right? Have both the cardio and the respiratory strength to maintain a mindful, correct ride that I'm not forcing myself into. And January, it has been like coaching this, and it's so interesting. I was watching a video from my first ride, and with January, like, it was probably my second lesson, but it was my first lesson with her on Ivy. Man, no wonder she put me in a hackamore. I was all over that horse's mouth. Compared to the way January has me riding today, it is pretty freaking miraculous of how far I've come. But it's also hard work. Like, I visualize myself doing this, right? Like, that's Bill and Bindi on their way. When Jan teaches me something, I have a hard time just doing it right when she says it. It's like I have to find it, right? I have to find what she's telling me. Like, I have to find that feel. I have to feel that gentle, like that gentleness, right? Like, I have to practice it, and it takes my mind a minute, right? And now, like, I'm constantly starting to think about, like, things like the outside leg and the outside rein. Don't disengage, right? Like, don't be rough, but don't disengage. And making sure that I've always got leg pressure evenly and not overly aggressively distributed, to constantly be encouraging propulsion from the underneath at the right times, right? Jan's been coaching me through all this stuff so I can get around the arena really effectively. And so I added a dressage trainer because I think at some point I might want to show dressage, but I also think that, like, I do better, and I can't have a lesson with Jan every day because she's just busy. I do better at this stage in my development as a rider if at least 4 or 5 days a week I'm riding under guided supervision, so that I can make sure that I'm developing strength and stamina as a rider, and that I'm on a clear and focused program, right, to develop myself as a professional athlete in harmony with my horse. And so that's my team right now. I have a main competitive trainer, January, who has, I mean, look at, like, I'm constantly aware of my posture and keeping myself erect, and understanding that my impact on the horse needs to be subtle. You know, it's so interesting, like as a relationship expert, right? Like our impacts in our lives and the people that we love need to be subtle, right? Like if we're constantly on them overly aggressively, they kind of respond in the same way. If we overly aggressively ride our horses, they get frustrated with us, right? And so it's really important for us to, like, in any of these activities that require, you know, a mindfulness approach to connecting your performance to your actual ability to control and relax in a calm, not relaxed is the wrong, control your body in a calm state, right? Like that you're moving through all of it relaxed and calm and move and following the horse with your mind. I'm doing this stuff because I'm focusing on it all the time in my life, to the exclusion of a lot of other things probably, but not to the exclusion of the people that I love. Right? I think the biggest thing that I'm excluding now are just politics, because they just seem to be so traumatic, right? So, but I get a lot of joy out of riding my horse. And so I'm just gonna keep riding. And so follow along if you'd like to like and subscribe. I guess I'm supposed to say that. So it's been a joy sharing this journey with you.